Hey yo, we're testing. Welcome, bookish friends. I need to set up my new board, which is a little ghetto, but I couldn't find the wire grid that I was looking for, so we made a plan. These are actually supposed to be shelves, but don't it look like it's supposed to be a display grid? Anyway, so I thought while I do this, we could chat about an unpopular bookish opinion. So, one of the unpopular bookish opinions I have, and I'm starting to realize that I also do this, so please do not listen to any of this and think that I'm judging everyone because I do this all the time too. We are all far too stingy with 5-star reviews. So, hear me out. We all know that there is a great literature that, when they used to do book reviews in the New Yorker and all these fancy newspapers, and that was your job. I remember thinking as a kid that this would be a great job. I would love this job. This will be an awesome job. I get to read and just tell people which books are good and which books are bad. And yes, at the time that would have been a great job. And you had to study literature and you had to compare books like within this canon of great literature, which is an awesome thing to do when you are studying literature. But let's be real, we are all book reviewers now. We all consume it, we all read each other's reviews to see if we like the book or the idea of the book. And so this is why I think we are all being too stingy, because what could be a 5-star book for me does not necessarily have to be an amazing book within the canon of literature. It could just be a really good book. Maybe you really like horror, and this is just an amazing horror. Maybe it has everything in it that for you makes it a great horror. So, yes, there is obviously going to be books that are still fancy within literature, that are these amazing books and stories within the canon of literature and within the world of great literature. But they don't all need to be in the great canon of literature. Why can't a 5-star review just talk about how this romance that you read was 5-star for you? The enemies became lovers. There were some steamy scenes that you thought were great. And the book ended with a happily ever after. Why do we have to be stingy with our 5-star review? If it's 5-star for you and you think it's amazing, you know what? Give it a 5-star. Look at my cat. How cute is this freaking cat? Anyway, so that's my first point. Second, there are so many authors out there now. This is also not to say that they are all top class and the most amazing authors on the planet, but it is much harder now to get noticed, not only within traditional publishing, but within, indie publishing. Now you've got to market it yourself and basically pimp yourself out on social media to try get people to notice your book and to take your book seriously and even try read your own book. And a large part of what helps authors get more readers is reviews on things like Goodreads, on things like social media. Now, I'm not saying that every book needs to be given a 5-star review just to help out a homie, but I've read so many 4-star reviews of indie books where the person in their 4-star review raves about the book and talks about how it's the most amazing book on the planet and they recommend that everybody should read this book. But then why not give it 5 stars? Help that independent author out. Give them 5 stars. Tell the world it is the most amazing book you've ever read because you think it is. Give them 5 stars. We don't need to be stingy with it. Nobody is going to come and argue with you because you don't have some fancy BA in literature to be dishing out 5-star reviews. Dish it out. Give them 5 stars. Give everyone you think deserves it 5 stars. I think we need to be a lot less stingy with our 5-star reviews. So I know I do this as well. I am terrible. I think that the book has to be absolutely perfect to give the 5-star review. And it actually doesn't. To me, it's perfect. To me, it is fun. To me, it is exactly what I want in that kind of book. And I think we just all need to give everyone more 5 stars if we think they deserve it. If you think a book deserves a 5-star review, give it a 5-star review. Be a friend, help a homie out, give him a 5-star review on Goodreads. I want to show you some examples of what I would consider 5-star review books within the canon of literature. And then I want to talk about why some other books I really love, I didn't even give them 5 stars, and I might go change that because actually I think they do deserve to be 5 stars. So, disappearing, and I'm gonna come back. Okay, I'm just gonna grab 2 because I have too many books. Number 1, The Hobbit. I love this book. Okay, I know that some people will talk about how it's stuffy and it's boring fantasy, but The Hobbit is one of my favorite books. My mom used to read it to me when I was a kid, which is probably why I rate it so high. But even when I reread it, this has got a spot in literature. This influenced so many books after it within the canon of fancy literature and whatever fancy degree you want to use. This is, by all regards, a 5-star book. This is an amazing book. Okay, I highly recommend you read it if you love fantasy. You need to read it through the lens of the time it was published. So there's a lot in here that if you've never read it before and you read it now, you're going to be like, oh, all fantasy does this. Back then, all fantasy didn't do this. Fantasy wasn't even really a thing when this was created. This influenced so much after it. And it is such an amazing story to me. Anyway, 5-star. I think it deserves 5 stars. Another one, Anne Rice. I'm a huge Anne Rice fan. I have every single book she has ever written. I love Anne Rice. I know many people now don't love her as much. All her books have a special place in my heart, and I think almost every book she's ever written deserves 5 stars. Also, when she started writing the Vampire Chronicles, this was a breakout in that genre, and it deserves 5 stars. Most of her books do. They are well written, and if you understand what she's trying to tell you within the story, they are beautiful. They are 5-star reads. So 2 books that deserve 5 stars. No questions asked. Okay. But you know what also deserves 5 stars? These are just examples. I have so many more. Elsie Silver. I just discovered her books this year. I love them. These are what I would classify as the perfect palate cleanser. Okay. This has got romance. This has got a little bit of excitement. It's sometimes spicy. I love these. I can knock out one of these books in a day. And when I've been reading something serious or a thriller, this is a nice break afterwards. This is a nice break after some serious non-fiction book that I've been reading. Would I give it 5 stars? No. Why? To me, it was great. I would reread this again if I needed a break from some fancy non-fiction. Why not give it 5 stars? Am I going to compare it to The Hobbit? No. This and this should not be being compared to each other. Why? But if you are a romance girly and you want to read some, I can't remember which one this is. I've read too many. Guys, I have read like 6 of these books this year already. So apparently I really do like Elsie Silver now. But regardless, does this need to be compared to The Hobbit? No. Is this a wonderful romance for people who love romance? Is this a great book for a romance girly? Yes. So why not give it 5 stars? Same can be said for this whole series, the whole Sookie Stackhouse series. I know it is a bit older now and people aren't as a huge fan of it as they used to be. I loved these books when they came out. Okay, it's got romance, it's got action, it's got vampires and shapeshifters and all sorts of other things and witches. I love this. It's also a little bit spicy if that's what you are looking for in your vampire book. These were amazing. Am I going to compare it to Anne Rice? No, they are not in the same ballpark. Okay, they have different goals. This is existential crisis and complainy thinking about what my point in the whole universe is. That is not what these vampires are doing. This is borderline smut, okay? I'm gonna say it. Is this not deserving of 5 stars? No. You should still give it a 5 star. If you think this is 5 star, give it a 5 star. I don't understand why we are so obsessed with making sure that a book is absolutely perfect before it gets given 5 stars. Why not? Why not give it 5 stars? I think we all need to be a little less stingy. And that is why this is one of my unpopular bookish opinions, that this is a hill I might die on, guys. It's not even my most pet peeve unpopular bookish opinion. This is a bookish opinion where I'm telling you, I think we should all just dish out more 5 stars. That romance book, before you hit post on your review, I think you should ask yourself, was there anything in here that actually bugged me? Was there anything in here that actually didn't make it deserving of 5 stars? Because that author is looking at your 4-star review and wondering what they did wrong. And let's be real, I don't think they did anything wrong. They probably deserve that 5 star. We're just all not willing to hand it out because we think it has to be some fancy thing within the world of literature. And I don't see why that has to be the case. I think reviews now are more for other people and for each other. And so I think when you rate your book, you should rate it on that scale, bearing in mind that somebody else who has never picked up that romance book might want to now pick up that romance book. And they don't care about comparing it to some epic fantasy. They care about comparing it to other romance books that they have read. So, was the writing great? Was it easy to understand? Did you enjoy reading it? Would you read it again? Because those are the things that you need to think about when you are writing those books and when you're reading those books. So I think we should all be dishing out more 5-star reviews for things. And look, me almost having put up all my stuff. A lot of this is pictures, as you can see, and letters from people just to remind me to be positive about stuff, you know. So your support when you do stuff, it means things. So when you're having a bad day, you can just remind yourself that actually, you know what? I'm helping people by doing stuff. Also some cute quotes. And, oh man, I found this one while I was busy unpacking stuff. Marius, if you do ever watch this, this was from the first book you ever sent me to review and hype up on Instagram. And I think now I have read, let me count. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I have read 7 Mirari Press books to date from the time you sent me this first one, which was Waypoint 7. So, you know, just remembering all the hype and all the love and all the cool things that everybody does. Anyway, thanks for watching me set up my board. I only have 2 things left to put up on here. I have many more clothes pegs, so I might print out some photos and stick some more stuff up here. But thanks for joining me while I do this and talk about why you should all be dishing out more 5-star reviews.